Hey children's ministry leaders, here are your preteen media tips for July and August of 2018. The music artist known as Zedd has had 10 songs on Billboard's Hot 100, 4 of which made it to the top 10. Zedd specializes in EDM, or electronic dance music, which is basically taking over the mainstream music scene. If the idea of dance club music puts you on alert, don't worry. It's not always inappropriate for preteens. Even some worship music today has an EDM sound, and Zedd songs such as Stay and The Middle don't contain any objectionable content. That said, because Zedd partners with a variety of artists like Ariana Grande and Liam Payne, it's hard to predict what the content of his next song will be. Like Haley Stanfield's Starving, which features Zedd, is all about a sexual relationship, and the music video makes that clear. Parents, use caution with Zedd's music, especially because YouTube is a likely place preteens will listen to his music. You might consider having your kids stick with the Kids Bop audio version to keep it more kid-appropriate. Have you heard of the popular game A Hat in Time? It's the largest Kickstarter-funded 3D platformer. The game features a little girl who's looking for fuel for her spaceship while learning to understand people on Earth. She's racing to beat others on the planet who are also collecting the fuel. When she finds badges, she stitches them to her hat to gain new powers, and she uses an umbrella to defeat her enemies. Kids can play by themselves, or they can play on a local split screen or an online co-op. The game is rated E10 for fantasy violence and alcohol and tobacco references. It's available on PC, Mac, PS4, and Xbox One. If you're a millennial parent, you may love this 3D platformer. Overall, it's clean and fun with challenging gameplay, creative fights, and a humor-filled storyline. And the price is reasonable with hours of gameplay options. It's a nice choice for families looking to play games together. But do talk to your kids when they encounter the mafioso or references to alcohol or tobacco. Let's talk about apps. Cydia is like the jailbreak equivalent of the iOS App Store. Essentially, to get to this app store on an iPhone, you have to break through Apple's security chains. This lets iPhone users get apps that aren't available in the Apple App Store and customize their phones with these new apps. For Android users, Cydia Substrate lets users customize apps and get software for free that would otherwise cost money. Keep in mind that Cydia is becoming more popular and well-known among preteens. They might jailbreak their iPhone so they can do stuff like change the color of their icons or add a repeat music button to the control center. But what if your preteen uses it to watch videos on ProTube HD? An app similar to YouTube, but with fewer content restrictions. While Cydia is safer than it used to be, even Cydia acknowledges that you're taking a chance on downloading malicious software. At Children's Ministry Magazine, we think when preteens can gain access to apps that adults don't understand, it's always a big risk for kids. Next, let's talk about books. Betty Before X was inspired by Malcolm X's wife, and it tells the story of a middle school girl who overcomes challenges and learns about self-acceptance. Written by Malcolm X's daughter, this piece of historical fiction paints a picture of the American civil rights movement through the eyes of a child. Betty struggles to feel like she belongs in her dysfunctional family, and she's taken in by a family that takes her to church and leads her to be courageous, resilient, forgiving, thankful, and wise, among other things. Despite some dark content, Betty Before X is full of positive messages and role models. Drawing on the author's memories, the book is relatable to preteens and can encourage discussion. There is some violence associated with the civil rights movement and also Betty's abusive mother, but other characters in the book can help Betty and your child make sense of it. Parents, if you read Betty Before X with your kids, you'll have an opportunity to talk about the racism and discrimination happening today. When it comes to TV, the NBC game show Genius Jr. might be a good option for your family. It's hosted by Neil Patrick Harris, and it features child geniuses ages 8 to 12 as they compete in timed math, spelling, logic, and memorization challenges. These challenges aren't the kind that most viewers will be able to keep up with. But the show is one that'll entertain and amaze because of the kids' intellectual abilities. Despite the competitive element, the kids are generally encouraging to one another, and they even compliment each other when the opposing side succeeds. We think it's a great game show for families to watch together. Viewers won't be able to miss the celebration of intelligence, hard work, and perseverance on the show. Parents, you can even highlight the element of teamwork, not to mention the positive and healthy way kids compete with one another. Genius Junior even shows kids how we can react with dignity when we lose. And as preteens enter a period in life that's often riddled with uncertainty, this game show can encourage them to use their talents in a positive way. In the category of movies, we wanted to mention Teen Titans Go to the Movies. It's an animated film by Warner Brothers and the Cartoon Network. It's a story about superhero sidekicks who want to star in their own movies. Their plan to become famous falls apart, though, when a supervillain tries to take over the Earth. Based on the Cartoon Network's popular show, this movie features cynical, egocentric characters in a satire that releases July 27th. Given that it's a satire, some of the humor will be over kids' heads, but expect it to be true to the TV show with crude humor that kids will understand. This, along with some mild profanity, violence, and substance abuse, make it a choice that might not be wise for preteens. That said, the movie does present some opportunities for you to discuss negatives of selfishness and self-promotion with your kids. That's all we have for now. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check back in September to stay up to date on all the latest preteen media trends.